I, Andreas Propst, born and raised in Austria, always loyal and faithful to everything that is kept strong and free in the past, until it was sold off and overtaken by usurpers, acting as our leaders and betraying a whole continent, the stronghold and the creator and the maintainer and the steward of everything that was good and great in civilization as we know it. I am standing here in the heart of Vienna, the last bulwark against the Muslim invasion and the all invaders that wanted to take away not only our lands but our minds and our bodies and souls and our free will. And I am standing here. I am standing here on the Hero Square, Heldenplatz, in my native German mother's tongue. I'm standing in the company of heroes, and I have deserved their company unlike anyone I've met in this corrupt and pathetic country. Pathetic. I'm standing here being chased for 3 months after being denounced by a close family member for something nobody knew me as in the past and which I will never become. I was never a person who even wronged another human being without apologizing and making amends as I could. And now I lost everything. I have no home, I have no rights, I have nowhere to go. All my friends and family and relations have forsaken me out of fear and because they were infused with apathy and everything that made them human and caused them to help a stranger in need. A stranger in need would have been taken in by my grandparents and fed until he was saved by some closer relation. I have been chased for 3 months over the ocean and back after one accusation which has not been proven once. Not one piece of evidence has been produced. Nothing was done to research this. I was committed to a mental asylum for nothing because of a lie of a known madman. I studied psychology, psychiatry for my whole adult life and studied social work. And I'm standing here because of an accusation of a family member and all the apparatus of the Austrian government, including at least 15 or more police officers from my homeland in Austria. Countless police stations acted the same way without being connected at first. This led to me having to flee my homeland. My parents stabbed me in the back. My father was the betrayer and the traitor because he's a sick man, and only sick men get their will because sick men sit in power in this country, and these sick men provide weapons and authorize deadly use of these weapons to even sicker men who don't even know what a conscience even means for any human being on the streets, even in this most corrupt nation. I'm standing here. I'm broken, stronger, powerful, more powerful, more inspired. My will not even show the tiniest crack if they chase me for another 3 months, be it 3 years. I have nothing to lose, and I can bring everyone that wronged me down, at least in person. These people were heroes. They are forgotten. They are just statues in the minds of every young person in my age. But I carry on their spirit. I never forgot what these people stood for. I never forgot this. And I lived my life based on the eternally true principles these heroes fought and died for our nation and our future. Until it was handed away, chasing an illusion, a simple lie, to make all the hard to understand and hard to bear truths in the world, all the suffering, more bearable, but never solve it, but just increase it. The ghost of Karl Marx inspires everything in this country. He will be rejoicing in hell, and it will be like paradise for him, seeing what he has done. Every person I ever knew operates based not on their conscience, not on any holy book, but based on the Communist Manifesto, if you break it down to the last part. And what I'm going to do, Nobody has been able to stop me. I went to Vienna. And spent the whole day trying to find help. Even the police in Vienna, to whom I talked in person, promised me, swore to their worthless oath, promised me on their oath and on the honor of their 15,000 brothers, as they put it, which disgusts me because I knew from the start it was just a fake claim. They swore on their oath, the oath they took not to any corrupt leader in power. And yes, I am talking about our current Bundespräsident, our current president here in Austria. I'm talking about him and all of his minions, who are just the enforcers and the enforcers of the propaganda ministry for everything Marx ever wished for, and Marx wished for, dreamt up. Vladimir Lenin put it into a political program. Trotsky enforced it in the most brutal way, and Stalin showed the whole world what the end goal would be of every socialistic system. And even if they come in the guise of Democrats, as our Socialist Democratic Party here and everywhere else, the end goal is pure communism. What Stalin perfected and showed the world, and nobody even remembers. 66 million brutally murdered and starved countrymen of his. His countrymen. He lived among them. He was their brother, their cousin, their friend, came from the same culture, pledged allegiance to the same God in his school days. And now they lost. The Cold War is over. The Iron Curtain is fallen. The Berlin Wall was torn down. But socialism, communism, Stalinism was set loose, because everywhere they had their agents and spies. In academia at first, everyone knows it. And if you come out of academia, you're just a communist drone in the end. I know this. All my comrades. When I talk to them now after 10 years, when I left social work studies here in Austria, when I left them, I talk to them now, and they just quote propaganda from American leftist liberals, extremists, and I can destroy their arguments by just destroying communism at its core. This is the state of affairs. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to the last people I can trust, because they know how it feels to be persecuted. I repeat it, I've been persecuted. Everyone has denied me my rights. And what is even worse, my family is in danger by this madman who is my father, my family, that is my sister and my mother, who are helpless because my mother has been tortured and emotionally abused for 30 years by this monster. And she is broke, and she does everything to enjoy some peace for 5 minutes if she has to throw herself, her daughter and her son and everyone on the world into the meat grinder that was put into the mines since the beginning of the last century. First, the meat grinder of the trenches of the Somme in the First World War, where Europe's best and bravest were culled. The dissident program, basically. Then it was the second culling. The second meat grinder was the cauldron of Stalingrad. My grandfather escaped and earned medals. An iron cross I bear with me. I keep safe because it would be taken. I would be criminally charged for this, because I defend my heroic grandfather's honor, who fought these bastards even my grandfather feared, just because of what she had heard what they did, the Red Army troops, to every foreign even or enemy territory they came. She feared them. My father would have laid down his life to protect us, and he returned safely. He suffered the same fate as I did. He had to walk home from Stalingrad through enemy territory without speaking the language of the land. He had to walk home on his own, always in fear and in hiding and in stealth. And he returned, and he became father to my mother. And so I was born, and I always saw the heroism in my grandfather, and not the criminality and bloodlust I was led to believe from early stages on. I saw what the other heroes did throughout the centuries and millennia that preceded us here on this holy earth of Europe. trust myself. I have two loyal people here. An ex-Iranian, a Christian who was chased away from Iran, where his grandparents had sought refuge from the genocide. And then the Ayatollah Khomeini took over. It was the same all over again. And my heart bleeds for this man and his family that is still here. The others are in America where everyone can be safe even now. Safe everyone. Everyone, every color, every creed. Every creed and every color. I have been there. They have chased me over to America. I have escaped their fangs. I was imprisoned. A judge had to release me with a grudge and unwillingly. He was not happy to release me because he could not find me guilty of anything and could not detect any mental illness, which is not his job anyways. So I escaped and I did not get any apology or any reparations, neither from my family, who are powerless in this situation. Even the madman who is my father, who caused this, they did not see this coming because they can't even imagine. I've never seen anyone who is remotely as principled as their son always was. My father never saw these principles in me. He always detested them and mocked me for it. And now here I stand. In America, my finances were sabotaged. So at the return after 5 weeks staying at strangers' homes, we became friends immediately. Every single person, even the lowliest of the low over there in the land of the free witches has more moral principles, eternal unmoving principles. He would rather die for than see me like this here. Every single person protected me. The government couldn't because I was hunted all the time. I had to return. And from my return on, the hunt continued. The hunt by the police, complicit experts and doctors and whatnot. I traveled from my homeland of Upper Austria to the state capital of Vienna, and still the police did not help me. This man, I see him before me, swore me on his honor and the honor of his brothers, worthless scum are his brothers indeed, to help at least my family right now, who are still in the fangs of God knows who, my father, or worse. And after 3 hours I just called the emergency hotline